Hi, and welcome to Studio SN. My name is Sara Naumann, and today we're stamping and coloring with Spectrum Aqua Markers. Spectrum Aqua Markers are water-based pens that are perfect for stamping. And not only are they perfect for stamping your images, but they're also really nice for coloring them in and give a really soft, pretty watercolor effect. And that's what I've done here on the front of my card. Such an easy technique to do and a lot of fun to play with these markers as well. So let me show you the pens that I'm working with. So this is from Crafter's Companion, the same people who brought you the Spectrum Noir alcohol ink pens, which you know I love. Well, these are Spectrum Aqua Markers. So these are a water-based marker and gives you a really beautiful watercolor effect. So this is one of the sets. There are of course several of them, and this is the Nature set. So you can see there are 6 on the front. If I flip it over, you can see 6 different colors on the back. And I'm going to open this up because I think this is really cool. Basically, you've got not only 12 beautiful pens, but you also have kind of a storage case for these. So you can simply open this up onto your work surface and you won't have pens rolling all over the place. Each one of these markers just snaps right into its own little space in here. And then you can go ahead and close this up when you're done. So you can minimize your storage space. But when you're actually coloring and working with these, it's nice to have the case open flat on your work surface. Now you've also got a little swatch sheet in each one of the sets too that just shows you what those colors are that are included, so then you can tell at a glance which ones you want to work with. Now the 2 that I'm working with are the greens, and so I've got the evergreen here and the sea green. I'm going to pull these out and set my pen set aside because I want you to see what the pens actually look like when you get the caps off. So you'll notice that there's a gray band on one side of each of these pens, and that is for the broad tip. So you can see a nice big brush tip on here. It's flexible, so it can get into some larger areas. And then if you flip this around and pull off the other side, you have a beautiful fine tip. So this is great for your detail work. So you've got 2 nice options for coloring and, of course, stamping with. So I'm going to bring in my stamp. I've got a clear stamp mounted up onto my block. It's that pretty leaf design. And that leaf is from the Fresh Cut stamp set. This is from Hot Off the Press. You can see that pretty leaf up there. And this stamp set really goes beautifully with these markers. There's just something about florals and watercolors that go together perfectly. So I'm going to set the pens over here and bring in my white cardstock. And I'm working with the Sheena white stamp card. And this is also from Crafter's Companion. It's a 300 GSM weight card. So it's a nice sturdy card weight. You can go a little bit lighter weight if you don't happen to have 300 GSM, but you don't want something really, really lightweight because you will be working with water and you don't want to end up with warped paper or buckling. So my stamp is up on my block and I'm going to take the evergreen and working with the broad tip on here. I'm going to hold the pen at a bit of an angle and use it to color my stamp. Now when I'm doing this, it's, as I mentioned, coming in at an angle, not straight down because that'll take a long time to color, but an angle will maximize the use of that broad tip and just make it quicker and easier to color my stamp. Because you do want to do this part fairly quickly. Come in here, make sure that all of the areas are nicely inked and snap on the cap and then simply turn it over and press onto that white cardstock and lift off, and I've got my stamped image. Now sometimes you can either huff on the stamp, blowing some hot air onto the stamp to keep that ink activated. You can also spritz it with water. But as you notice, I didn't really need to do that, and I've got a nice crisp image. Now I can come in and color with my sea green. And when I do this, I'm not coloring all the way to the edges of my leaves. I am going to leave some white on here. First, because I like to let some of that white show through and almost act as a highlight. And also because I will be spritzing this with some water, so I don't want it to over flood the image. So I'm coming here, even with that broad tip, I can get into some of these narrow areas here. So I've got this all colored as much as I want it. And then I'm just going to bring in a little mister bottle. And this is one from Ranger, and it does give a nice fine mist. So you may want to experiment with whatever type of mister you have on hand. I'm going to hold this pretty far away because I don't want to flood the image. Holding it pretty far away and just give one quick spritz. And then you can start to see that some of that ink is moving. And I'm just going to come in with a tissue, or you could use paper towel, and blot that off. And that stops the movement of the ink on there. And then I have my really pretty soft watercolor image. Now, if I wanted to come back and add some more color or add a different color, I could certainly do that. You'll notice that although the ink has become softer and a bit more faded, it's not blurring and turning into a big soupy puddle. So it really does provide a beautiful, crisp look, and one that is perfect for the front of a card. So now that I have that all stamped, and once it's dry, and it will only take a second to dry, I can go ahead and pop it onto the front of my card. So I've mounted it up onto green cardstock and onto lavender, and the lavender adds a really nice color contrast to that green. I've added a dazzle down here at the bottom, and this is also from hot off the press. This is the Inside Outside Greetings dazzles. The pattern paper is also from hot off the press, and that's from their Gypsy Jewels pattern paper collection. So really pretty, nice purples and greens on here to really support and contrast with the color of my leaf. A little bit of baker's twine going across here at an angle to break up some of those blocks and lines here on my card design, and I am set to go. So this is how you can color and stamp your images with the Spectrum Aqua pens. I hope you enjoyed today's show. For more ideas and inspiration, please stop by my website at saranaumann.com. If you enjoyed today's video, I invite you to subscribe to Studio SN on YouTube, and I will keep you updated with a new video every Wednesday. Thank you for joining me on Studio SN, and I'll see you again next time.